What's up, folks? It is 7:15 in the morning, January 31st. Tomorrow starts February, which is a day closer to deer season again. But, yeah, this is the dull part of the year where I'm just kind of keeping myself busy, trying to get some jobs in while I'm waiting for the deer antlers to hit the ground. Enough so that I can go and not spook deer that I, could wait another week or two and get their antlers. But, yeah, I'm ready for shed season. I've only got one shed buck on my property, and that, I guess we'll just jump right into it. That's the whole point of this podcast. Besides, I got a couple other points I'd like to talk about. But so 2 days ago, I found my neighbor dead. Basically, I've hunted on this guy for the last 5 years or more. That used to be my cousin's property whenever I was a kid. And he was always a good dude when he wasn't drunk, but he drank a lot. So, like, normally by noon, you really didn't want to go mess with him because by then he was drinking and he gets kind of bipolar, and he can either be awesome or he could be an asshole. So we just kept our distance. As far as like friendship, he was one of those dudes you got along a lot better with him if you weren't around him all the time. And so basically, since about October-ish, or maybe a little bit before that, I've been meaning to go talk to him just because I've got a food plot up on him, and I hunt on him, and, just to remind him, hey, I'll be hunting, because like I said, he drinks, he forgets shit, he says some stupid shit, but he was just one of those dudes. So I meant to, life's been busy, deer season was hectic, and I remember it was a couple weeks I hadn't seen him, and then I seen him drive by, and I was like, all right, cool, because I'd kind of started to worry about him. Well, hadn't seen him for a few more weeks, and I meant to go see him, and we just got into the beginning of winter and holidays and all that shit, and usually on Thanksgiving and on Christmas we would bring him up a plate, and he's been pretty drunk the last year or so, so we hadn't went up there all that much. I think I've been up there 2, maybe 3 times to actually talk to him in all of 2024, just because that's how the relationship was. And yeah, so I didn't bring him a plate, which I feel guilty about that, but hadn't heard from him and stuff. So it was probably November we started really noticing we hadn't seen him, and then definitely through December I was like, I really haven't seen him drive by. And then the snow hit January 5th. I remember because I was hunting on his property. I was within, at one point, because I walk around his house to hunt, and like I said, he's one of them people, so you kind of got to be like cautious as to how you present yourself around the guy. Like I said, usually mornings weren't so bad, so I usually talked to him in the morning, hung out with him in the morning, whatever. Like even last year, whenever Mila shot at her deer, that was up on him, and I went and talked to him immediately after, and he was like, yeah, I seen it run by, hitting the lower leg. It was fine to live. We weren't going to find that deer, but it's just one of those things where he was in a good mood, so. But in the mornings, I would tiptoe kind of past his house, and usually I could see his TV on and smoke rolling out of his chimney because he's got a wood stove that keeps it rolling. And I don't think he has any other heat other than that. So it's kind of cold out here. I just got out here. Have not acclimated to this. But, yeah, so he's, I'm not seeing the TV that morning, which it was kind of a red flag, but I was in deer hunting mode that last day, and I wasn't trying to look for anything negative. I was just trying to sneak around, not wake him up and think there's somebody crazy outside. If he'd been drinking early or something, you never know with this guy. So, good around his house, whatever. I go up, do my hunt, kill my deer. The whole time I kept thinking, man, it's weird. I don't see smoke coming out of this guy's chimney. And I deal with my deer. Snow had hit pretty good. we got 5 kids and lives, and I got work, and all the stuff that included with this business we got going on with life. But so about 2-3 weeks go by. The whole time I keep asking her if I should go up there, but every time I start talking about it, it's in the evening, and I know he drinks, so it's like I don't want to go up there and him be in a pissy mood. He likes his solitude. But finally, I was like, I got to go check on him. She started to push it too, because I pushed it so much it was in her head. And I was like, I don't think I've seen tire tracks on top of the snow. So that'd been since January 5th. This was the 29th or 30th. I think today's the 31st. Yeah, I just said that. I'm retarded. But yeah, so I'm like, all right, I'm going to walk over there, make sure he's good. And I'm just getting this feeling walking down the road as I'm getting closer to his driveway. I'm not seeing tracks on the snow, so I'm like, this is weird. Like, I don't know. I've never got that kind of weird feeling before. I was like, this is weird. So I keep going. I get there, and his truck's not been moved. The snow's still good there. I get to the porch. The porch is covered in snow, not a track on it, not even of a bird. I'm just like, the weirdest feeling over my body, because I've never been in this situation before. I don't go down looking for problems around the world, but even as a friend, I'm cautious with this guy, so like I'm not trying to peek in his windows, but like I'm worried about him. So I start kind of nosing. I knock really loud, nothing. I walk around the edge of the porch, and I know where he sleeps. It's kind of in the middle of his living room. So I was like, well, I'm going to peek in there. I should be able to see something. I don't want to, because it's, So I peek in there, and there's only like this much, visibility in this window. And it's like, whenever I can see, I have to do this because the sun and the snow, obviously. And it's just kind of like immediate. Like I just see couch right in my face, which was like, ugh. You know what I mean? Because the first thing I see is the blankets look kind of moldy and like spotty moldy, which was gross to me because I don't like mold. But when I seen that, that was my first thought was, oh fuck, like he's not that dirty of a person. He's gonna wash his blankets and shit. And yeah, I'm so cold right now. I'm starting to shiver, but it's just weird. So I get up my phone and I'm walking the porch. I'm like, I gotta call somebody. So I call my buddy. He works with the sheriff's department, for the sheriff's department. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna call him. He's asleep. I get no answer. So I'm just like, I'm gonna call, ask them if I should have them have like a welfare check or whatever the hell it's called. Well, I'm in the wrong department because I call the town. They transfer me to the sheriff's office. The sheriff's office says they're going to send somebody. I went to meet him. I stood there for like an hour. I finally got tired of that and left. And then like 20 minutes later, they come down the road, 2 squad cars, or SUVs. And I see them heading to that house. I figure they get stuck in the mud. So I'm headed that way. Well, they made it. And then I see them go to the house. I was like, well, I'm going to go make sure, everything's good. Because at this point, part of me's worried he could be dead. The other part of me was worried that if I'm doing all this shit and I'm sending people to his house, he's probably not going to be too happy with me. You know what I mean? Just because there's cops at his house. He like I said, he likes his solitude. He don't want to talk to cops. So he's just one of them drunk dudes. Like, he don't talk to nobody. When he does, you got to be the right people on the right side, or else he just hates you. Just one of them people. I've had to tiptoe around his property. I've talked about it for years. He was just always drinking, so he had to tiptoe around his property. And just so I didn't get kicked off. I got kicked off once for corn in the middle of summer, just over a trail camera. And he was worried he was going to go to jail over it. That's how, he got drunk. You know what I mean? And his mind wandered. But basically, I call, cops get there, whatever. I'm talking to them. I explain, hey, I think he usually sleeps right there if nothing's changed. It had been, months since I talked to him. And I think they used a flashlight and said he thought he could see an arm and a leg. And I was like, at that point I kind of knew. But he was like, all right, I'm going to get the hammer, and he was going to try to get the door in. Well, he couldn't get through the door. It just wrong angle, very strong door. I don't know how he had it dead bolted, but the whole wall was shaking when he was beating on it. Couldn't get through, so he goes around to the side, tries to get in the window. It was locked, couldn't get through. So he's like, well, I'm going to bust these little tiny windows that's by the, what do you call it, by the double door lock. So he does that to get in, opens it, and it just comes open. It's just so stale looking. And I'm like, this guy's not got family close. He lives an hour from any of them. It was just weird. It was like, he's not the type to go live with a family member for a month or a week even. You know what I mean? Like, not even a night. Like, he's just, I don't think anybody could put up with him. And so they're wandering around in there. My dad, at this point, you know, he got curious, and he came up there and was talking to me. He was like, you think he's in there? And I was like, I think he's in there. Well, they kept walking around. They hadn't said anything. So my dad was like, I don't think he's in there. And like, I was starting to get some hope. Like, all right, well, now I'm going to have to explain to him why I got to help him fix all this shit that the cops busted in. And then one of the cops was coming out. I was like, is he in there? And this is a cop I went to high school with. He was like, yeah, he's in there. I think he said he's been in there for a while. So it's been cold knowing how a body works. The house is not run on electric heat or nothing. So, like, it had to have been before it got really cold this winter. Which, you know, like I said, I've been meaning to go up there. And the last time I did go up there, which I can't remember if it was further back than October or not. I know I'd stopped by and nobody answered, but I'd seen him after that one time. But yeah, pretty fucked up. So, killed my deer this year in the presence of a dead man. Shit's wild as fuck. Like, I had a gut feeling that day, and just like I said, I just didn't. A gut feeling's not enough to go piss this guy off, so I didn't want to bother him, but I did keep talking about going up there, and I just hadn't made the day. And finally it was like 10 a.m. whenever, or something like that, 10, 11 a.m. whenever I was able to actually go up there, so I knew he wouldn't be drunk yet if he was, you know, good, but no, apparently he'd been gone. Pretty crazy, man. But, so that's fucked up. That's one way to start off your year. I'm glad I didn't physically see him, so no, I didn't technically find him. I just kind of did the investigation myself, you know. Some red flags maybe go that way, and the gut feeling, like I said. And the weirdest thing, by our math, it didn't even, like, it got cold kind of after November, like real cold, as far as staying cold. For like, because they kind of made it sound like the body had kind of not decomposed, but started to a decent amount. Yeah, I'd imagine he probably died around the same time, and this is more fucked up, because maybe this is just me, but around the same time I found that deadhead, which I was talking about, I had this feeling, you know, that I should go a different route, and it took me to that deer head. And it's around the same time frame that I think he may have passed away, which it could have been, you know, liver failure or heart attack. He was in his 60s, but he was a hard drinker. He used to be a welder. He just retired like a year, maybe 2 years ago. So yeah, I'm a little rocky about that one, because we were friends, but we weren't like close friends. Like I said, we don't talk for months because he likes the solitude. He's one of those people, if you hang out with him 2-3 days, he's going to end up getting drunk and texting you some stupid shit. He won't even remember the next day. He's just, you know. So it's just easier just to talk to him in the mornings every few months, have a good conversation, and then not talk to him for a few more months. And I don't know. I think I waited too long this time. Maybe I could have talked to him and changed the route of things, or maybe it was natural, who knows, but I don't know. I'm worried it was depression related, because his dog, he had a dog for like 14 years or something like that, and his name was Buster, and he got real bad, and he ended up having to put him down, And he was super depressed about that because he was, you know, he's got no kids coming around, no family. So he just had that dog, but he was close with it. Well, he didn't have that dog for the last year or two. And I just think the holidays were that much worse on him. That's why we were bringing him food. And this year was just a lot of unfortunate circumstances. I know we didn't even get our dinner done until late, on Thanksgiving, I believe it was. So, you know, we didn't even have food until late, and I didn't want to bring it up there. If he was passed out drunk, you know, he ain't going to answer the door, and if he did, questionable circumstances, the personality you would get. But, yeah, shit's fucking crazy. So on a different note, talk about something different. I've been diving into basically my old deer, trying to get, because if you don't know, as a taxidermist for years, I just have never got to do my own shit, because I've always been doing my other job, everybody else's shit, and then, if you didn't know, I went through a shitty divorce situation. I'm not going to get into it all, but basically I had to start back from the bottom. I had nowhere to work, and you know, here we are, just getting caught up on everything. There's a couple more from the past that I'm still finding in the freezer that just got buried in all the process, but I'm going to get everything else caught up and done. And I've been trying to finally work on a couple of my mounts, and I've got the oldest original cape I think was 2013, and I just got him mounted up. Crazy enough, it barely had any freezer burn. By the end of the tanning process, there was absolutely nothing wrong with it. It mounted beautifully. Deer looks great. I have no complaints with him. I'm just waiting on it to fully dry up and make sure everything dries in place, and then do my touch-ups, put him on the wall. But a buddy of mine wanted to learn taxidermy, so I was like, well, you can come over and you can mount one of your deer, and I'll just tell you what to do, and you do it. So he came over, and he's been mounting his deer, and I've been mounting one of mine since he decided to buy me a form, just knowing I've been trying to get these done and knowing I don't usually have spare money. So he bought me my, I'm remounting my 2009 buck, which was a local taxidermist. Had mounted 3 of my bucks back in the day when I was younger, and terrible, absolutely terrible job. Probably some of the worst taxidermy ever. Like, it's up there with like the bad taxidermy you see on memes and shit. But I got 3 of them done by this dude because I didn't know any better. He was cheap. Cheap around here. Went a lot better. I didn't realize how poor we were until fucking taxidermy, everything, all the shit with taxidermy has been going on. In my life, basically $275, I think, is the lowest I've ever seen another taxidermist do. There's several was doing it for $300 a mount, just a normal whitetail shoulder mount, but had 2 or 3 people over that around here, not very many. Only 2 guys that I can remember, no, 3 guys, and one of them's all the way in Bloomfield, so like another nearly an hour away. They were up there at like 400 to 500. Well, now taxidermy, the average is like 500 and up. Like the low end is 500, and like on average, I think 7. Like the higher end is over 1,000. Don't know that I would ever have been able to pay over $1,000 for a shoulder mount back in the day. I still wouldn't do it now. If I didn't do taxidermy, I would probably say hell with it. I might keep the capes in a freezer somewhere, but I would skull mount them, solely based on that's way too much money as far as I'm concerned. But in case you didn't know, at the beginning of Bidenverse, they burned down 2 of the 3 foam factories that make the foam, the expanding foam. At least this is what I believe the chatter was. I could be wrong about this. It's super early, but I do believe that was the big thing that happened in taxidermy a few years back. right about the time you know, everything else started happening. Drier than fucking dust out here. This trash can will do. Anyways. But for real, getting some deer mounts done. My 2009 buck, I've got a cape. A buddy of mine I used to trade uh, basically like I would do a skull mount for the cape for people that didn't want to actually shoulder mount and they had a good cape. And I had a buddy, he had a perfect cape, looked just like one of my bucks, the buck I'm mounting, and he didn't want to mount it. He had it was a beautiful buck, but he didn't want to mount it. I was like, man, I'd love to have that cape. So did the skull mount for him, and I've had that cape in the freezer for several years. Finally, I was like, all right, I'm going to pull that sucker out, and I'm going to tan it up and flesh it and all that such shit that comes along with the process, and I'll be mounting it up. So I've got the form, I've got the cape ready. I'm going to thin around the eyes and stuff a little bit better, but I'm getting ready to mount that up for myself and finally have another one of my old bucks. He's literally been sitting in the, we'll call it an attic, but it's not an attic. It's like a crawl space in my ceiling. But it's just a storage area for things like that. He was mounted so bad, like the mouth was open, like you see the foam. I guess he had his wife Dremel out the nose. She went too far and Dremeled all the way through it, so they had to try to do the milk jug trick, and it didn't look good. They didn't do a good job at it. And the eyes are terrible. Where he sewed, he got, instead of just going with a seam, it got uneven, so like it bunched up, and the hair's sticking literally straight up. Now, I mean, this guy had done hundreds at that point that I know of, because he has a rack completely full of them, and he was suggested by other friends that said he'd been doing it for years, so should have had his shit together a little better than that. I've only done, I don't know, I've probably done less than 30 mounts, I would imagine, as far as deer. But mine, I take my time, each one, I'm super particular, and I do them individually, so I'm not mass tanning them, I'm not in a rush to get any of them done. Whenever I do mounts, I try to do them clean. I'd say the first couple of them I did way back in the day, which is nearly a decade ago or more. They probably weren't top notch, but that's part of it. I was only doing them for like $275 to $300 when I first started, solely because I just started. But I'm to the point now where if I get back into doing them commercially, I would start $700 easy. But I'm only really doing them for myself because, saves me the money. I do a good job. Like, I'll do my dad's because he's old and, he's not even going to mount them, so I just do them to say I did them, I guess. I can mount them and put them on his wall and be like, there you go, happy birthday, or there you go, Merry Christmas, or whatever. So, doing whatever he kills in the next few years. He turns 60 this year, so I'm going to try to get him to turkey hunt on camera. He's not, he used to love the idea of filming hunts, but ever since I got into it, he's never been on camera with me, so that's my goal this year, is to get him on camera, killing a buck or a doe or a big gobbler this spring, or maybe even just some mushroom hunting or fishing something. He's got a great personality. He's a very funny individual. It's just a matter of seeing if he's going to get camera shy, because he gets goofy when we pull out any kind of camera. He starts acting funny. He thinks he's a class clown, but that's probably where I get it. So yeah, we're going to finish up some more mounts, and I think I've got 6 more. If that tells you anything, I've put everybody in front of me for years, and I've just piled up my racks and put my capes in the freezers and never got to really mount them. And I think I mounted 2 of my own bucks. Yeah, my 2015 and 2014 buck. And honestly, the DVD series I had got at the time was mounting them fairly wet, and you just shouldn't do that. So I would imagine the glue, which was a McKenzie glue, not very good glue anyways, probably didn't set very well with a wet hide, and more than likely I can probably remount those 2. And I'll try, just because I think I can thin them down a lot better with the fleshing wheel than I ever could with the fleshing knife, which, that's more getting into if you understand taxidermy or not. I'm assuming most people watching this don't give a fuck about taxidermy. It's just one of them things I always liked as a kid. I always liked the look of taxidermy. I love animals, so I love the opportunity to salvage, when we do kill something, the rest of what normally would be left for things to pick off of. Salvage it and make something pretty out of it. Salvage the animal, let the legacy, more or less, of that animal live longer than it ever could have if it just lived and got eaten by a coyote and, a couple of years of squirrels making turds out of its antlers. There's no legacy there. Most people wouldn't even know they existed, but you put them on a wall. Who knows how many hundreds or how many thousands of people will get to see that in its lifetime. To me, that does it more justice. Some people really appreciate it. Some could care less. Some are appalled by it. But at the end of the day, more eyes got on it than ever would have it just walked in the woods for 4 to 8 years, whatever its life expectancy might have been. I'd say 2 to 8 years, because 8 would be a stretch, and 2 is the average of bucks getting killed. But, that's my deer hunting and my taxidermy bullshit. One more thing I'd like to touch on would be, it's probably me being full of shit, but I think it's funny. My first podcast that I restarted here, I talked about the Upchurch and Calhoun bullshit, the feud, and I'm not shitting you, right after that, it fucking set off. For those of you who follow me and don't know what I'm talking about, it's just a bunch of country rap. Whether you do or don't like it, it's whatever. But if you do follow me or you follow that shit, dude, right after my podcast, and I'm not saying it was me, it's just a coincidence, but as soon as it was done, 2-3 days later, the fucking disses all started dropping. Fucking pretty much the shit I was saying that these guys ain't really mentioned on. Talking about Upchurch's titties and shit. Like, they fucking dropped disses about all that. Fucking Adam went hard after Upchurch mentioned his son like 3 or 4 times, asking for it. He was like, you know what, fuck you. And then fucking made fun of his girlfriend too. Which was a lot funnier than it sounds, but fuck them. They're acting so goddamn crazy. Like, Upchurch and his fans is about the only ones acting crazy. The rest of them seem to be all, just kind of catching on and being done with it. They're all trying to grow up and keep the genre moving, while Upchurch is thinking he's this legendary fucking creature of God's creation. I don't know what the fuck he thinks he is, but the dude's insane. He's literally insane. We've all been seeing it and saying it. It caught up with him. That's all it is he's fucking full of shit. It caught up with him. He's not that good of a rapper anymore. It's kind of going downhill. His weird rap got absolutely demolished by Adams, and then fucking just in time, he just put up one that was pretty funny. It was like in a convenience store or like a grocery store, but yeah, it was pretty funny. I was laughing the whole fucking time. They just trolled everything Upchurch does. Hilarious. Fuck that guy. Like, it's sad when you're a fan of somebody and you just watch them go downhill, 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 and then they really start digging deep instead of fixing it or apologizing or anything. He just dug deeper, and now he's jerking off Hosier. Hosier's doing it with his mouth because he is gay as fuck. I don't know what the fuck that dude's about. And then fucking that Gator dude is getting involved. Like, dude, shut up. Like, at this point, he's not even involved. He's just catching the scraps for clout. No one fucking cares, bro. Yours is not a part of this. But, not that I'm a part of it, but I'm going to talk about it, because that's all a fucking podcast is. You talk about what the fuck's going on, or what do you want to talk about? That's fucking what the fuck I want to talk about, goddammit. Idiots, bro. Upchurch, fucking Gator, fucking Hosier, and then all their crackhead fans. Like I said, I was a fan, and I think a lot of the fans who got a decent head on their shoulders are moving away from those people because they're retarded. How you going to pick a fight and then act like you didn't pick a fight and then sit and cry, make crappy diss tracks, jump on each other's bandwagon because they got to support each other because that's all they got. It's their crackhead fan bases and then them two. Ignorant, dude. And then, like, there's some weird side people trying to get involved. I guess they're kissing Upchurch's ass or something, but they're trying to make diss tracks. I don't think anybody's even responding to them. They're just like, shut the fuck up. We don't give a fuck about you. Like, you're a nobody trying to be a somebody by reaching for a name you're not involved with. Fuck those people. But Yeah. Ignorant as fuck. So, I think it's about all, really. Just fucking got the ignorant shit going on in country rap. I will say, currently country rap is kicking ass. There's a beef going on with all the diss tracks that reminds me of the diss tracks from back in the day, but I think these are more calculated. I think they're better constructed. They're less, oh, I'm going to kill you, we're going to jump you. There's less of that going on and more just like calculated fuck yous and this is what you're doing, don't say you're not type shit. And I respect that a lot more. I think that's the evolution of rap, is seeing it go from that childish behavior of, oh, I'll just shoot you, or oh, I'll just stab you, or we'll jump you, blah, 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 to the calling people out. You know, if you're going to talk shit about me, do it to my face. We can rap back and forth, or we can throw hands. I like that. Like, you can't tell me that's not what we do as a society whenever violence is our favorite shit. Like MMA and boxing and football and even baseball, they fist fight, fucking hockey, you know, all these what do you call them? We'll call them soap operas, but all these like MTV shows and all this shit, they're just drama where people end up fighting and the slap fighting and, you know, even at the end of the day, if a cop don't get his way in a conversation and it gets physical in any way, shape, or form, they use force. They beat them, slap them, hold them down, choke them, shoot them if you have to, tase them, stuff like that. Like, violence is the answer, like 100% of the time. If we stop demonizing it, you know, if this guy needs his ass kicked from time to time, kick his ass, as long as it's, hey, you were asking for it type shit. Who the fuck cares? Like, people have got to learn, stop being a bitch, stop talking shit if you are a bitch. You know, somebody's going to humble you if they can, you know what I mean? So, like, we got to get back to being all right with it, because it's a part of nature in general, not just human nature, it's a part of nature in general. Thinking that we're not going to be violent as a creature is retarded. It's being calculated is the issue. We're an uncalculated species. We're kind of ignorant. There's a lot of dumbasses in here. Like, obviously there's a lot of women and men who like to beat on each other. We don't agree with that. I'm not saying that kind of violence. I'm saying, you know, if she comes up and hits him once or twice thinking that she can't get hit back and catches one, oh well, like, fucking you learned, didn't you? That's what I'm talking about. Like, real shit. If you come up fucking begging to get your ass whooped, fucking, you know, causing issues with somebody and they whoop your ass, you don't get to call the cops and get them arrested. You ask to get your ass kicked. Same thing with a cop. They don't get arrested if they kick your ass if you asked for it. You know what I mean? Like, we gotta work together and get all on the same page, but shit's wild. We got fucking pussies out there. There's a lot of shootings going on. Cowards is what I call them. Because there ain't nobody shooting nobody for the real good reasons. They're just shooting because they don't want to fight, I guess. They want to talk, but they can't handle it. They pull out a weapon if they lose or if they're losing. Cowards. There's a lot of cowards in this world, let alone this town. But, yeah. So that's the news so far this week. We got fucking me killing deer within 50 to 100 yards of a dead body. Fucking wild. Getting some taxidermy done. That's also fucking wild. And the world's going to shit. But on the bright side, Trump's back in. Things are looking better. I know a lot of you motherfuckers are crying a lot. I don't even care anymore. We went through so much hell. You can cry. You can cry all you want. Just shut up about it, because we're done hearing it. Like, 6 months from now, when all of our lives are more affordable, just remember this moment, because we're tired. We're exhausted from the last 4 years. Seen a lot of men go gray. People go bald. I already went bald. That was a woman's fault. 2 women, actually. They're fucking obnoxious creatures. But, yeah. Just do your best in this world to steer away from terrible women. I know there's some of you people watching this right now. Get away from them. Help yourself. This is your sign. Here's your sign, you know. Was that Bill Engvall? Yeah. For real. Some people need to steer away from bad women. You need to steer away from bad jobs. Make 2025 a little bit happier. It could be better. We live in a strange world. It's short, you know, like the time here is really short. It don't seem like it is when you're young, but I'm somewhere in the middle right now, and it catches up with you quick. So I'm just saying, like my mom's even getting heart surgery, and they scheduled it for like a little bit over a month, I think, from when she got the appointment to, you know, when she got the appointment set up for the actual surgery. It's like, if it's urgent, because they're saying like 90 to 100% blockage, if it's urgent and you need heart surgery, why would you schedule that a month out? Like, that makes me wonder if there's even really a problem, or if they should just be like, you need to drink water and eat healthy. That's my opinion. But I told her, if it's worth getting surgery, then it's worth eating healthy for the month leading up to it, and just see if you feel any better by then. Like, she's talking about getting out of breath and shit, walking uphill. It's like, all right, drink nothing but water, no pasta, no bread, no pop, no junk food, and I promise you, in 1 month, you're going to drop probably 30 pounds, have a ridiculous amount of like stamina building up. Your body's going to start to feel better, and I put money on it that she won't. I put money on it that she will think surgery and medication for the rest of your life is the answer, and it's not. That is not the answer. It will never be the answer. If you ever feel that bad, get your health right, and then worry about that kind of shit. Because if you get your health right and you're still bad, then you need that shit. But these people ain't getting their health right. It just makes no sense. Like my dad, for instance. We don't, like I said, we don't have any videos of me and him hunting and fishing and shit. We used to hunt and fish whenever I was a kid, but it makes me wonder, because he hunts and fishes with his friends. So what is the point of having a kid if you're not going to do shit with them? Me, I had children so that I could take them hunting and fishing, so that my kids could grow up, and maybe, if I'm lucky, one or all three will be, or five if you count my stepkids, will be my hunting partners, my friends that will go and hunt with me, as opposed to worrying about friendships that don't last and shit. So that was my aspect, was these are my little best friends. These are my little hunting buddies. And it makes me wonder, like, why have a kid if that's not your goal, to grow up with them doing these fun things? But that's just me. That's how I think. My kids are my hunting buddies. If y'all watch my videos, you've seen them on all my videos. I'm still in that dad friend phase. Like, I want to be their little hunting buddy, but I still have to teach them, hey, don't make so much noise when we're walking. Don't drag your feet. How you step your foot down, you know. Don't break sticks. Don't move your hands. Don't point. You know what I mean? Like, just things you got to teach kids to get to that point where we're both like, this is how we hunt. We don't have to tell them anything. They just hunt with you, as opposed to babysitting while you're hunting, which in a blind ain't so bad. I can get away with a lot more. Yeah, it's a process, but it's been good. We had a great year. Kids did anyways. We got our butts whooped. Tiffany could have killed a couple, probably 2-year-old bucks. She passed, but we really wanted something a little better for her this year, and you know, sometimes that costs you eating a tag or two, and we did that, but you know, it's part of it. So we're going to work a little harder this year. We had plans for food plots. One of them, I don't know right now, because like I said, my neighbor didn't have any close family. I think he had a brother and maybe some kids that he never talked to. So I don't know if they're going to come in and sell it, if they're going to come in and demolish the place. I don't know if they'll let me continue hunting up there. It's rocky, you know. On top of losing a a friend, you lose probably the hunting property. You lose, just access to the property I've been on my entire life. But there's just a lot tied to this. So it's an emotional mess. I don't know. I was really hoping that food plot was going to be a big part of it because it's right under the bedding area, and it always, early season, always had action. So that was going to be our main focus for the kids, and that was one thing he did like, was to see the kids happy, and when he wasn't drinking anyways. Crazy shit. So I guess we'll cut it off here. It's been a wild beginning of the year. We're gonna do some shed hunting. I wanted to do some today. I think I'm gonna worry about mounting that 2009 deer today, and then I got work this evening anyways. So I guess we're going to cut it off though. So appreciate y'all watching. Stay tuned. We're going to try to do some mushroom hunting on video. We'll definitely have some turkey hunting, shed hunting, obviously, maybe some predator hunting. I was going to goose hunt, but I think we got like a week maybe left, and it's just not worth buying my stuff. I found some geese, but it's just not worth it. So I will most likely see you guys either on the next podcast or when I start finding some antlers here in a week or two. But yeah, thanks for watching. See y'all in the next one. If you haven't already, go like this, subscribe, hit the bell. We're trying to get our subscribers up. We're trying to make something out of this that's a little bit more than me literally chilling in my garage and, showing you the little adventures between. But yeah, thanks for watching, y'all.